I'm Tyra Page, and I've lived here for now almost 10 years, and so I am about the 5th generation, I believe, living in this home.
I'm Marge Richardson, and I pretty much grew up in this house and went to school at a school in the next block east of here, and my parents lived here and my grandparents lived here before that.
It is more of a colonial. The windows is one thing that you can see, and the type of structure as far as floors, number of floors, and the size and shape of the home.
I don't think the dormer window was there.
I don't think the window was there.
That was added when my parents moved here, I believe. It's because before they had the skylight in the middle of the roof. I was born and raised in Laramie. My father was born and raised in Laramie. My dad worked at the rolling mill, the old rolling mill that was in Laramie. He worked at odd jobs and then got a job working for Mr. Ivinson at the bank. So that started his career until he changed careers and started ranching. My grandfather came from Denmark, and my grandmother came from Norway. And they came because, my grandmother came because she had a relative here that said, oh, it was a good place. And my grandfather just kind of kept coming west till he landed here. And this is where he settled. We're not sure when the house was built. We're not sure where it came from. What we do know is from my dad, who had said that the house was moved here, and evidently moved here when he was a small child.
The individual that my great-grandparents purchased the home from, his name was George Hicks, and it says in the census information, basically in the city of Laramie at that time, that he was a city councilman. And from then, basically he purchased the property in what appears to be 1884, 1885 time frame. At that time, George Hicks, he owned it until about 1904, and then at that time my great-grandparents purchased it from him at a very small price. So, well, and there was the story of great-grandpa when he became the sheriff. Or actually it was during, I think, when he was deputy sheriff still. He hadn't taken over for the sheriff yet, but he had actually, there was a prisoner that the whole town was going to lynch, and they were, in an uproar because this guy had murdered someone, and so they were going to lynch him. And so, thinking on the justice side, my great-grandfather hid him in our cellar. And this cellar, yeah. And then he escaped. He got him over to, in the middle of the night, over to Cheyenne. And
he took him in a horse and buggy by way of Rogers Canyon Road, back the back way.
Yeah. So he wasn't lynched.
And Albath had been sheriff for a while and was very, very well thought of and highly regarded. He got a phone call from Walden one day, and that said that a guy had robbed a store, had stabbed somebody, and maybe shot somebody, stabbed somebody, I've kind of forgotten now. And I don't know if the person was killed or badly wounded. And they thought he was heading towards Laramie. So Sheriff Bath set out they had a car a Model T, I suppose, car, and he drove up to Woods Landing and then borrowed a horse from somebody at Woods Landing and rode on up and was ambushed at a place called Bear Gulch. It's there's a river there, Bear Creek, and Bear Gulch was a station, and so near there he was ambushed by this person whose name I've forgotten now, that had caused the trouble at Walden. And so Sheriff Bath was shot and killed. And so then my grandfather went on a great search for him, searched everywhere, searched down towards Fort Collins, went all around the Pooter Canyon, over by Snowy Range, everywhere that he could look. And it was a really rainy summer, real stormy, rainy summer. And my grandfather just wore himself out and got a bad sinus infection and died from it. So in essence, that guy got 2 sheriffs. They never did find the man. They never did find him.
We've had family living in here, all except for a few years.
Mm-hmm.
There's been family members living here. Tyra Lynn, my great aunt, and actually she was elected to county clerk. She served as county clerk here in Albany County.
First woman to be elected to a public office.
Yes.
In Albany County.
I just want to preserve what's here. Like I said, we're kind of jacking up the floor, kind of leveling things out a little bit, and we just want it to be what it was, and to honor the house that it is and the stories that are here. The obvious thing, when we're gone, no one will know these stories. And it's important to share these stories. It's important to learn where Laramie came from and the people that made Laramie what it is today. I mean, Laramie didn't shoot up all on its own. There was a bunch of people that came together and were all a part of it. So that's the important part. And the homes that were here, you have to honor those homes, and you have to, remember the stories that go along with them and the people that were here.